Hi there, my name is Tom Bell, and welcome to my 5 Minute Friday video cast on the 3rd of October. So this week, I think we actually saw the progress, didn't we, of robotics and AI in the form of Keir Starmer doing his speech at the Labour Party conference, whichever way you want to term it. It's kind of a weird mix, isn't it, of if AI and robotics had DNA, there'd be a bit of a sort of rubbish version of the Terminator, coupled with a bit of Mr. Bean in there. And watching his attempts to get passionate about something and how he speaks like that, maybe you shouldn't criticize the guy personally, but there's something so disingenuous about a man who just seems to have no compass. He's like, isn't he? He is like a compass that doesn't have a true north. He follows the crowd, moves with every whim of every day, and tries to get people from that and over here. And oh yes, no, we're doing that. No, you didn't turn to them. Come over here. It's principleless, and we have unprincipled politicians. I guess we've had them for a long time, haven't we? But they seem so open now. They can change direction and change their minds, and off we go. I think the original founders of the Labour Party would be probably still are spinning in their graves. The idea that we've got a Labour Party now that's in favour of digital ID cards, hello, Big Brother, and is banning the critical press and members of the critical press and some members of its own party from its own conference because they might have views that conflict. Isn't that the purpose of politics? Is discussion, I always thought. But hey ho, there you go. There's something, isn't there, well, about leaders who continue to think that they're not part of the problem. It's people like Starmer, I think, that have brought us all to the point where we've lost faith in the establishment, we've lost faith in the political institutions, we've lost faith in political parties, pretty much lost faith in politics. I've advocated for a long time that we should have a no vote option on that voting should be compulsory. Yeah, get me, okay. So that's maybe a bit Big Brotherish, but it should be compulsory unless you have a good reason not to. But you should have a no option, and you should be able to express why you didn't vote in that option. Yeah, what it was, because that would then change the dynamic. We'd no longer be able to have politicians standing up saying they have a mandate from the public when in reality they've just got a small percentage of the vote. We'd be actually equipped to say, well, no, 50% or 60% of the public didn't even want you in there, and here are their reasons for not wanting you in there. But because we don't record that, we can't do anything about it, have we? I also thought the way that he played into Farage's hands completely, talking about reform endlessly and the threat that reform are and da-da-da-da-da. Gee whiz, who told him to do that? Which of his comms advisors told him to do that? All those fascist and racist connotations, etc. It was just absolutely cringeworthy. It was populist singing to the choir. Anyway, I'm going to introduce you to a new world theory today called Concave World theory. So what it is, we're going to imagine that instead of a round globe that we all live on, this rock that's sort of roughly round-shaped rock that's spinning through the atmosphere, we're living in a concave dish, yeah? And we're gifted with infinite distance vision, so we can see everything just as clear in the distance as we can see it up close. Yeah, so we're living in this concave dish. So there's the world as we know it, all the countries that we have, all oceans. We won't get worried about gravity and things like that keep the oceans in place. After all, it's never bothered the flat Earth people, has it? So we won't worry about it. But for the purposes of this exercise, we can essentially see everything that's going on. And I wonder if in a concave world, because we could see everything that's going on, we might start to value human life differently. We might start to put the same value on everyone's lives, no matter where they are and what their circumstances. And the reason I say that is we're so exposed to the media and those around us. Our biases are so inherent that sometimes we don't even spot them. And I see lots of things on Facebook about, obviously there was a tragic, horrific incident in Manchester yesterday where 2 people lost their lives. I think there are still people critically injured. But what else was going on around the globe? And we had the Home Secretary. Let me just get this right. We're going to look over here. So the Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, she said pro-Palestine protests after Manchester attack are un-British. Just linking two completely separate things. Is she saying that we should link Palestine with a horrific terror attack on a synagogue? We probably can in the long term, but actually the people protesting for a free Palestine, that's a completely separate issue. They're talking about humanity. There's a human need that they're talking about there. And I wonder if we could see everything that's going on in this concave world of ours. We might just look at those things differently. We might look at comments made by people like the Home Secretary and say, well, you're talking absolute nonsense. Don't confuse the issues. Don't overlap those issues. They're not the same thing. And I wonder if, the value that we put, let's have a quick look here. So 25,000 people died of hunger yesterday. At least 53 Palestinians are killed in Gaza yesterday. These included the elderly and the young. We have a body count of roughly 1,000. We estimate, those are estimates, Russian soldiers killed yesterday. We've also got doubtless dozens and dozens of Ukrainian soldiers. We've got people dying from famine and all kinds, waterborne diseases. These things are all happening. And this is why this kind of idea of a concave world takes away the power of the media to tell us what we should focus on and actually helps us see what's really going on. It would probably drive us nuts, actually, wouldn't it? It would drive us insane to see what was actually occurring in the world at any one moment. Because I think one of the things that keeps us sane is our ignorance of those issues. And I don't mean ignorant in sort of a belittling sense, but we are generally, there's far less that we don't know, that we do know than we do know. What they say, what we know is an ocean. Sorry, what we know is a drop, and what we don't know is an ocean. I think there's a great deal of truth in that, isn't there? But I think we've got to stop. We've got so many biases, and they are shaped by what's put in front of us. And you see so much on social media, and politicians are feeding off this. I mean, the worst politicians, I should say, they are feeding off this, aren't they? And they're feeding people's prejudices. But actually, human life everywhere is worth something, isn't it? And the idea that we get this reaction from the British government about 2 people who've been killed in Manchester versus absolutely no reaction from many people about everything else that's going on in the world, that suggests that our view of the world is being limited, isn't it? Deliberately so. It's not our fault, by the way. It's just the way the world is structured. Hence the concave view that might change that. Also, I wanted to say something about people who are continuing to go on about illegal immigration. I don't see a lot of those people, by the way, I'm seeing are in favour of Israel's genocidal, illegal occupation and destruction of both property and lives in Gaza and in Palestine. And somehow you're for that, you're okay with that, but you're against illegal immigrants coming across the channel on rubber dinghies or in the backs of lorries or wherever else it might be. But you're okay with illegal genocidal occupation. I can't square that. I can't get that. You don't have to justify it to me. I would just ask you to have a think about it yourself. Is it okay for someone else to invade someone else's country if you agree with their aims, armed to the teeth and with death in mind, total domination, genocide in mind? Are you okay with that, but not okay with people coming across the channel in rubber dinghies? I just ask you to think about that for a moment, if I may. On a positive note, we all like to end news on a positive note, don't we? Is this news? I'm not sure it is really. It's just my opinions. But I'm taking a leaf out of News's book, It's World Values Day on the 15th of October. So on the 15th of October, we can all look forward to being super nice to each other. That'll be great, won't it? And then we can just get back to normal after that. So if you're feeling particularly vindictive and hateful, don't worry. It's just one day. We'll soon all get over it. On that note, as ever, please stay safe, try and stay solvent and stay sane if you can. Okay, ciao.